1st, it's 2021. If everybody could please stand and say the pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, approval of the minutes. If there are no objections, the minutes for October 7th, 2021 are approved as presented. The minutes for October 13th, 2021 special session, if there are no objections, that is approved.
I have an objection.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
I'm listed as being present and I was not at that special session.
Okay. Well, we'll make that change. If there's, are there any other objections to the meeting, the minutes on October 13th? Hearing none, with that change, they are approved. If there are no objections for October 15th, 2021 special session, those minutes will be approved. All right, approval of requisitions for October 21st, 2021, amount of $21,228. If there are no objections, that is approved. Approval of accounts payable for October 14th, 2021, the amount of $196,000, $478.33. If there are no objections, that is approved. Approval of accounts payable for October 21st, 2021, the amount of $21,747.65. If there are no objections, that is approved. Approval of manual checks for October 15th, 2021, an amount of $126,506.75. If there are no objections, that is approved. And approval of manual checks for October 22nd, 2021, an amount of $20,507.98. If there are no objections, that is approved. Approval of payroll for October 14th, 2021, an amount of $262,356.96. If there are no objections, that is approved. All right, we're going to start off with agenda item number 1, Angie Banks, exonerations. The floor is yours.
Have a little more than normal. Of course, I missed the last meeting. I thought I was on the agenda. Okay, this first one, and I'll go ahead and tell you there's this taxpayer. I'll do each year individually, but for 3 years, he filed the wrong vehicle, but then he had new bills made up on the correct vehicle. Okay, this first one is in our 2018 personal property book, Shepherdstown District. The taxpayer did not own the 2010 Honda 2007, I'm sorry, CRV. He did not own it July 1st, 2017 for the 2018 tax year. Assessed value $4,400, tax amount $103.38. Taxpayer's name is Stephen Shatkin, ticket number 317191.
All right, I move to approve ticket number 317191.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
This one is in our 2019 personal property book, Shepherdstown District. He did not own, the applicant did not own the 2010 Hyundai. Why do I want to call it a Hyundai? It's a Honda. I want to say Hyundai for some reason. It's a Honda. July 1st, 2018 for the 2019 personal property tax bill. The applicant is Stephen Shatkin, ticket number 317313.
I move to approve the exoneration of ticket number 317313.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
This is in our 2020 personal property book, Shepherdstown District. The applicant did not have the 2010 Honda, July 1st, 2019 for the 2020 tax year. Assessed value $3,700, tax amount $84.21, ticket number 317336.
I move to approve the exoneration of ticket number 317336.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
He did file correctly for 2021 and 22. Okay.
He's a little faster on the draw than you, Jamie. You know,
We're trying to get it out there.
Sometimes I don't think they look at the form, they just sign it and mail it in. Okay, this is in our 2021 personal property book. Okay, it's a Dave Barnes and Lisa Barnes, and they did not have the 2011 Cadillac or their shore trailer or their 2015 Toyota Tundra or their 1947 Cadillac. Yeah, they were not located in Jefferson County. Total assessed value is $23,700. Total tax amount, $692.32. I do believe in this case that they were in another county, and because of COVID, they were elsewhere in their other home, and they filed in both counties, but physically they were in the other county and filed there too. So the assessed value is $23,700, tax amount $692.32, ticket number 305153.
I move to approve ticket number 305153.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
This is in our 2021 personal property book in the city of Charlestown. The applicant is actually, he's active military, and his place of domicile is Florida, not West Virginia. Assessed value is $6,100, tax amount $178.20. Applicant is Joseph Indomenico, ticket number 305689.
I move to approve the exoneration for ticket number 305689.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
This is in our 2021 personal property book, Harpers Ferry District. The 2014 Dodge Ram was assessed erroneously. Assessed value was $9,100, tax amount $221.06. Applicant is Timothy Whitley, ticket number 309035.
I move to approve ticket number 309035.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
This one is in our 2021 personal property book in the city of Ranson. The hair salon was out of business June 2020, and we still have the divisional on the property. All of it should have been in class 2. So the assessed value, $15,830 was the assessment, and the tax amount was $226.05. And the applicant is Doris Anderson, ticket number 23764.
23764. Okay. I move to approve the ticket number 23764.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
The real estate number's a little smaller,
Okay, I was making sure. All of the other ones are six.
or a little
six
short. Yeah,
digits.
yeah.
That one was
We
5.
went from personal to real.
Okay.
Okay, 2021 real, in the real property book in Cabletown District. Taxpayer misunderstood inquiry letter, and the property was owner occupied July 1st, 2020. He thought we were asking on a vacant piece of land he had bought, but we were asking about the home. The assessed value is $154,800, tax amount $1,880.20. Taxpayer is Michael Grant, ticket number 17334.
I move to approve the ticket number 17334.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, this is in our 2021 real property book, Shepherdstown District. This should have been in class 2. It is their second home, assessed value $103,400, tax about $1,255.90. The applicant is Serena Bodner, ticket number 29561.
What was it again?
29561.
Okay. I move to approve ticket number 29561. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, this is the last one. This is in our 2021 Levy Book, Charlestown District. Assessed value 800, tax amount $19.44. And it's a small piece of property that was left under a taxpayer's name, but the Department of Highways had purchased it a couple years ago. And we just didn't get a copy of the order. The ticket number is 6609.
6609. Okay. Move to approve ticket number 6609.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
We're going to move on to agenda item number 2, Michelle Gordon, Finance Director.
All right, the first item that I have in your package should be the fiscal year 21 financial statements. Financial statements are kind of built from the bottom up, so we're going to start on the second to last page, which is numbered page 23. We're going over the statement of revenues and expenditures and changes in fund balance for fiscal year 21. Ad valorem taxes at the end of fiscal year 21 were 14.9 million. And that's compared to about 14.6 million in prior year. We increased on average about 300,000 every year, so that's pretty normal. Alcohol beverages tax increased from 255,000 last year to 327,000 last year, or this year, and that is a result of the legislation changes that happened about a year and a half, 2 years ago. Hotel occupancy tax was 638,000 and decreased to 453,000 in fiscal year 21, and that is solely a result of the COVID pandemic impact on our revenues. Other taxes include 1.5 million for property transfer tax, and that is compared to 1.1 million last year. The increase is due to two factors. One, the economy. The market has increased as far as sales go, and the state, we should see additional increases in the coming year because the state changed legislation effective July the 1st of 2021. They're phasing in their portion of the property transfer tax 10% per year for the next 10 years. So we should see that increase even more over the next 10 years. Licenses and permits, 558,000 compared to 412,000 last year. That's a reflection of the growth that we have in the new construction as well as home improvement market. Impact fees are 3.2 million for fiscal year 21. And those are also a reflection on the property transfers that are happening in fiscal year 21. Intergovernmental revenues for federal government, or federal intergovernmental revenues, we received 3.2 million in fiscal year 21 in the general fund and 5.5 million in the ARPA grant fund. That's a new classification that will show up this year. So we had about 8.8 million in revenues, federal grant revenues during fiscal year 21. Charges to services for services are 4.4 million, and that's flat compared to last year. There were no increases or decreases. And I want to point out that under other non-major governmental funds, 1.2 million of the charges for services includes our ambulance fee revenue. It is actually down a little bit from fiscal year 20. Let's see. In fiscal year 20, it was 1.0 million on the accrual basis. And in fiscal year 21, it was 1.1 million. And it's due in large part to new growth and new properties that were added. However, our cash collections are actually down when you look at it on a cash basis. In fiscal year 20, we collected 1.0 million in revenue, and in fiscal year 21, we collected 995,000. So collections are down a little bit. I believe that's due to the pandemic. Miscellaneous revenues, that is where we include our gambling revenue. We had about 3 million in miscellaneous revenues in the general fund. Video lottery revenue was 2.5 million, and it's flat in fiscal year 21 when compared to fiscal year 20's 2.4 million. It is actually down from the pre-COVID years of fiscal year 19, which was about 3.0 million. Table games revenue was 446,000 in fiscal year 21, and it is down about 12% from 508,000 in fiscal year 20. And our pre-COVID number in fiscal year 19 was 635,000. So that's where we've seen our biggest impact in revenues there, and our hotel occupancy tax. Other non-major governmental revenues and miscellaneous, we have 1.4 million That is where we have our farmland protection revenues and student property transfers. So that's a little bit higher than it has been in previous years. Expenditures for fiscal year 21, we had 12.2 million in general government, and that's compared to 11.5 million last year. The increase is due primarily to the fact that we implemented an insurance, a self-insured department last year. So all insurance costs for every department, including public safety and everything, was moved into that particular department. So even though it looks like it's increased, it has not. It's actually flat when compared to the prior year. Down towards the bottom, we have our transfers in. We have 2.3 million transferred into the general fund. Majority of that is 1.5 million in transfers in from our ARPA fund for lost revenue. And you can see that transfer out there under the ARPA grant fund. So that crosses out with that. Transfers out 8.0 million and from the general fund were transferred out to the capital outlay fund. And then the other transfers out in our other non-major governmental funds include 500,000 from the assessor's valuation fund and 200,000 from our financial stabilization fund. Do I have any questions about that?
Any questions?
So if we skip forward to page 21, we have our balance sheet for all of our governmental funds. So this just kind of pulls it forward. Our general fund had 7.1 million in cash and cash equivalents at the end of fiscal year 21. That's compared to 6.9 million the prior year, so we're pretty flat. Our capital outlay fund has a huge increase and has $12 million in cash available at the end of fiscal year 21. And then our ARPA grant is new, so it has 4.0 million in cash available. Total cash and cash equivalents at the end of fiscal year 21 was 24.3 million compared to 12.5 million the prior year. In our accounts receivable, our taxes receivable is 780,000, and that's net of our allowance for doubtful accounts, and that's flat when compared to last year's 808,000. Our ambulance fee taxes receivable is located under other non-major governmental funds at 489,000, net of allowance for doubtful accounts. That's up from last year's 409,000. Our accounts receivable also includes our due from other governments of 883,000. That is our grants receivable. And last year, our grants receivable was 2.9 million, and that was for CARES Act revenue that we received. So we still have about 883,000, and it's more normal at the end of fiscal year 21 is what we normally have at the end of the year. Restricted cash and our impact fees, we have 8.5 million in restricted cash, and that's compared to 5.4 million the prior year. So we have increased our amounts of restricted cash, and the majority of that is typically for our Board of Ed. Total liabilities were 798,000 at the end of fiscal year 21 for the general fund, and that's compared to 702,000 the prior year, so that's pretty flat. Total liabilities for all governmental funds is 1.1 million compared to about $1 million the prior year. So those are all pretty flat, nothing unusual there. Deferred inflows for revenue, deferred revenue from taxes. Deferred revenue is unavailable revenue. So the county reports unavailable revenues from property taxes. And these amounts are deferred and they're not recognized as an inflow of resources in the period. So they're recognized as an inflow of resources in the period that they become available. So they're actually collections that we receive for July, August, and September. And that amount is adjusted from our taxes receivable. So our deferred inflows for fiscal year 21 were 556,000, and it's pretty flat when compared to 535,000 the prior year. Total fund balance at the end of fiscal year 21 for the general fund was 7.8 million. Total fund balance for all governmental funds was about 34 million. Now, total fund balance as a percent of operating expenditures is really a useful indicator of overall financial condition. The minimum fund balance required by state code is 10% of that amount, or about 1.2 months. Our financial policy actually requires 16.67%, which is about two months. And our financial policy also has a goal of 20%, which is about 2.4 months. At the end of fiscal year 21, our actual percent of operating expenditures as a percent of fund balance was 30%, which is about 3.6 months. Our financial policy also requires that during the next fiscal year, any excess fund balance above our 16.67% minimum will be transferred to the capital outlay fund. Now, the pages that I skipped are actually converting entries that convert those governmental fund financial statements to our governmental accounting standards board financial statements. So those converting pages can add our fixed assets, they add our net pension liability, they add our compensated absences. So we are going to go to the first page.
What page is it?
It says page 19 at the bottom.
Okay.
So you can see all of the numbers that we just went over are flowing forward into this very front page. The converting entries are in the front top section there, we have our fixed assets. Fixed assets start about where it says 896,000 and it ends down where our accumulated depreciation is. So let's see, total fixed assets net of accumulated depreciation at the end of fiscal year 21 was 17.3 million, and that's compared to 18.1 million last year. The decrease is primarily associated with depreciation expenses that we add each year. Funding for the purchases that we had in fiscal year 21 were federal grant revenue of 150,000 for the MRAP 6.6 vehicle that the Sheriff's Department purchased or received. Capital outlay fund purchases of 238,000 for vehicles and equipment. Let's see. The Sheriff's Department purchased 4 Chevy Tahoes at $62,000 each. They have the 6-wheel vehicle. We also had purchases for a general billing system, a large document scanner, some servers. We also had some disposals in fiscal year 21. We had 3 sheriff's vehicles totaled in accidents and 2 vehicles were donated, one to the town of Paw Paw, one to Bakersfield Fire Department. The next section is our deferred outflows. Deferred inflows and outflows from pension activities reflect changes in assumptions, differences between actual and expected experiences, differences between actual and projected earnings and investments, employer contributions to the pension plan after the measurement date, and employer's proportionate share of pension expenses. These figures are calculated by the state retirement system, and they match what is provided to us from an actuarial valuation. In the middle where we have our liabilities, all of those numbers pretty much flow forward. What we have added is our non-current liabilities for notes payable. We don't currently have any notes payable. We had some in the prior year. Our net OPEB liability, which is our other post-employment benefits, is 1.7 million. It's down a little bit from last year. That is a declining benefit. We only have a few employees who are left eligible for this benefit, and no new employees are actually going to ever be eligible for this benefit. So it will continue to decline until it hits 0. Our net pension liability was about $4 million for the end of fiscal year 21, and that's up from 1.85 million. It's up about 2.1 million, and that number fluctuates wildly every year. There's been years where it's been as high as 6 million and years where it's been as low as 1.8 million. We have no control over that. It's based on the investment fluctuation for the pension plan. Our compensated absences is 907,000 compared to 923,000 last year, so it's down a little bit. Compensated absences that are reported as a liability are our vacation amounts, compensatory time, and holiday time, holiday banks. Sick leave is not a compensable absence, so we do not record that as a liability. Total net position at the end of fiscal year 21 was 47.7 million compared to 35.4 million, and that's due in large part to the federal grant revenue that we received. Do I have any questions about any of the financial statements?
Do I have questions?
The next document should be a list of vendor payments paid out during fiscal year 21. I just want to point out that we typically, I know in prior years, commissioners would look for the volunteer fire companies to see how much we paid to them. Some of them are using P cards now, so some may show that we paid them the full 82,500. Some may only show 40,000 or 50,000, and it's because we paid vendors directly with the P card. It doesn't mean that they didn't get their 82,500. It just means we paid the vendor directly. Both of these documents were sent to local government services by the required deadline, which is I believe October 14th, and they were both published in the Spirit of Jefferson. Do you have any questions about any of those documents? We will have an audit. We have an audit every year. The audit is due to be completed by March the 28th. The next item that I have on the agenda is regarding vendor misconduct and potential disbarment of that vendor. I have some documents that I'll attribute to you. It's within the Chief Financial Officer's purview to administer and monitor all vendor contracts and ensure compliance with consistency with county goals and applicable laws. I'm advising you of a situation that was brought to my attention by a concerned citizen. State Code 11A-3-2, the second publication of list of delinquent real estate notice specifically states that on or before September 10th of each year, the sheriff shall prepare a second list of delinquent lands that shall include real estate in his or her county remaining delinquent as of September 1st. Teresa Hendricks of the Sheriff's Tax Office contracted with Tony Milborn to type that list on September 1st of each year for 2018, 2019, and 2020. She was provided with a list that included the delinquent real estate tax with a real estate tax bill jointly owned by Ms. Milborn and her husband. She was paid $650 for each year for those services for a total of $1,950. Tax records indicate that in 2018, that tax bill was not paid until September the 30th, although the list that was submitted to us approximately a week or two prior to that did not have her name listed on it. In 2019, her tax bill was not paid until November the 16th, 2020, which is the day before actual tax sale, and her name was not published in the paper. In 2020, her tax bill was not paid until September the 30th, and the list was prepared approximately 2 weeks prior to September 30th. The finished type list provided by Ms. Milborn for those years did not include the delinquent property owned by her and her husband. This deliberate omission has subjected the county to potential liabilities and violates state code referenced above. As a result of this misconduct, I would recommend that she be disbarred as a vendor for all Jefferson County direct or indirect payments. And I've drafted a letter to be mailed to her to cease all performance. When I did ask the tax office, I asked Teresa Hendricks about the process. She indicated that she does not review what is sent to the paper and did not realize that this name was missing. Do I have any questions?
Yes, so this has happened repeatedly the past 3 years. Why is it now just coming up for disbarment?
I just found out about it.
Does anybody else have any questions?
When he's available, I don't think it's on the agenda, but I would like, for us, talking to our attorney about this situation, so we can know what our options might be.
Are you recommending we take this discussion
For legal advisement.
for legal advisement?
Yeah, just to make sure we cover all our bases, but this is concerning.
Okay, well, what we'll do is put this on our agenda for next month. We'll put it under legal, and we will most likely go in executive session to get legal advice on this.
Do we have to? I mean, can't we just go into executive session when Nathan comes later? Because it's already on the agenda.
That's true, that's
Yeah,
true.
yeah,
Okay.
that's what I was envisioning, yeah.
Oh, okay, I thought you meant on another meeting. Okay, we will take this up with our legal and at the end of the meeting. How about that? All right, so we'll readdress that. All right, we're number 3, Nikki Painter, County Clerk's Office, redistricting overview.
Oh, this should be
Okay, so I believe Todd Fagan, the GIS manager, is on the phone or is available. But I'm going to go ahead and start. As you know, COVID delayed redistricting, so we're on a pretty tight time. The
legislature must pass their maps by November 8th, 2021 to comply with the West Virginia constitutional residency requirements for senators and delegates. They have to live within their district for 1 year prior to both House of Delegate and Senate maps should be approved, and we are likely to have the final maps. Once they pass, they will move on to the governor for his signature. I don't think there's been any indication that he won't sign them, although I can't guarantee that there won't be something. So there hasn't been any indication, but we'll see when it happens, right? Things to keep in mind about redistricting. We must work within the delegate lines as drawn by the legislature. No precinct can be in more than one senatorial or delegate district. So once the state does their version, then we have to make ours fit within their lines. Precinct and magisterial district boundaries should be drawn using features such as roads, streams, creeks, rivers, railroad tracks, mountain ridge lines, and municipal boundary lines. Precincts are determined by registered voter totals, magisterial district population totals, and should be nearly equal in territory and population as nearly as possible. There is not a specific percentage to get in. It's just as nearly equal as possible. Precincts should not exceed 300 to 1,500 voters for urban areas, 200 to 700 voters for rural areas. Since our county is mostly rural, there are not a lot of public buildings available. We've had problems in the past finding adequate space to hold the elections. So we have split areas alphabetically by last name into A and B precincts. That way we can have it in the same location, and it allows us to have one location, but still treat it as two separate precincts. The House has already posted their approved maps, and that is what Todd has been using to overlay our current precinct and magisterial maps to see where changes need to be made. What he's working on right now, which is a very tedious process, he is actually mapping how many voters are registered to each address point. So he was able to do a lot of it, you know, through a map, but he's actually having to right now manually do over 1,000 of them. So it's taken him a little bit of time. Let's see. That, because he's doing that, we'll be able to, when he starts moving lines around, we'll be able to actually have an accurate representation of how many people are going to be within that precinct. Because when you take one away, you have to figure out, you've got to play the balance game, especially with the magisterial districts.
But the other challenge is finding well-defined boundaries.
Correct. Correct.
You can cut something off, but unless there's a road or a railroad line or something,
Right.
it's hard to.
And I will say that Todd worked really hard with, after the last redistricting, worked really hard with the census to show them areas that were bad lines. For example, Gap View Village, they had one of the census blocks used, which is not there anymore, a ditch in a farmer's field. Well, that's a development now, so it actually cut the development where only a few houses had to go to a completely different precinct, which then causes voter confusion. So he did work really hard on that part. When working on the new map, he's keeping two goals in mind: to disrupt the voters as little as possible, and obviously not to redistrict a seated county commissioner out of their district. Okay, so he has all of you starred on the map, and you won't be redistricted out of your current district. While he does not have a completed draft, the initial look identified several precincts that have been sliced up by the new delegate district lines. For example, 12, 16, 4A, they kind of come in and they cut them into distributed and figure out what part is going to go to what precinct. Okay. In addition, we had already identified previous issues that we knew needed to be corrected during the redistricting process, including new polling locations for several precincts that had inadequate space or were no longer available, such as Blue Ridge Mountain Fire Hall. We've decided that that is not a good location. I actually spoke to one of the board members for the Blue Ridge Acres. He's very happy to allow us to use the space. He thinks it's adequate. He is actually a poll worker. So I told him I was going to mention it tonight, and then tomorrow I would get in touch with him to go up and see if the space would be. He doesn't see that there would be a problem. We're also going to try to keep polling places within precinct boundaries, such as 35A and B Asbury United Methodist Church. This affects Commissioner Hudson. When we don't have an adequate building within the precinct boundaries, we have tried to keep it as close as possible to reduce the travel for voters, but sometimes there's just not a place. One of the things that we have to keep in mind, there might be a place that's adequate, but they're not always available. And we definitely don't want to continue to change precincts every election because that just causes voter confusion. They don't know where they're supposed to go vote. So we try to get places that are going to be consistently available. Another one is Jefferson Academy, which is no longer, so we have to find a new location for that. And that has never been within the precinct boundaries. So that's another problem area that we do know about. Also, polling places that were getting closer, exceeding their limit of registered voters. Precinct 34, Shepherdstown Elementary, and 26, Leetown Methodist Church. Both of those are really close to exceeding their voter limits. So Todd is aware of that. Once Todd completes a draft map, it will be presented to the commission, and if no changes are requested, the commission will need to set a date for an approval meeting that will be included with the notification. This may require special meetings since we are on a tight schedule. So it may be that, and it's up to you whether you want to do it or not, but it may not fit with if we have to wait until the next meeting because we are on such a tight schedule. The good thing is House Bill 301 has shortened the notice requirements for magisterial and precinct boundary changes. So we went from having to post for 30 days down to 15 days for the precinct boundary changes and 14 days for the magisterial boundary changes. So precinct changes will be published, must be published as a Class 2 legal ad in the Spirit of Jefferson. The magisterial boundary changes have to be posted at the courthouse and one in each district. So we usually pick a public building like the libraries and the health department has been used in the past. Once the maps are complete, then the voter office will begin the long and tedious process of moving voters to the new precinct and mailing new voter registration cards to the affected voters. Voter education is going to be important because when it comes to the election, we send out cards, but people, throw them away, they get rid of them, they don't pay attention that it has a different precinct on it. So voter education is going to be a big key. So that is my presentation. So
You don't need any action tonight.
No, not now since they have reduced the notification change. So I don't think there's going to be any action. Todd has been working nonstop since the approved map was posted for the delegate districts. He's been working nonstop trying to get to a point where he can at least come up with a draft map for you.
Okay. And the good news, I'll tell the citizens of Jefferson County that Todd and Nikki Painter worked through the last redistricting. So they're your seasoned veterans now. And we're glad to have you and doing this again for us. So I know it's going to be a tough process and I know we'll get through it.
Yeah, well, it'd be much nicer to see maps digitally instead of paper and all of that.
Yeah.
You know.
Came a long way in 10 years.
Yeah.
I think.
And
Yeah, right.
it's unfortunate that we're on such a short timeline because the last redistricting, we were able to post them.
Right.
We had public hearings. We were able to get a lot more public input, but the time just doesn't allow because candidate filing starts in January. So we have to have it.
Good deal. Thank you much.
Thank you.
We're going to move on to agenda item number 4. Is Patricia, is she calling in, do you know? What I can do, if you want to, I'll go ahead and jump to new business if she's not. I think she was shown in person.
Okay. Oh, she was going to do Zoom.
Oh, was
Actually, I do see her on the attendee list.
Oh, okay, yes.
Let me move her over to the.
Sure.
Number 4. Let me just go to the- Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, ma'am. The floor is yours, ma'am.
Thank you very much. This would be very short. Of course, thank you all for the work that you do. I am calling or joining you today as a citizen. I was missed 2 years of paying for the ambulance fee because I never received the bills. And then today, or I shouldn't say today, this year, I got the notice for all 3 years, this year's and the last 2 years, and no problem with paying for the ambulance fee, but I do not want to pay for the late fees that were assessed to the last 2 years, because it wasn't that I refused to pay, I just didn't ever receive the bill. And I think what happened, and I don't have the reason for this, but I think what happened, for some reason, last 2 years, they sent it to my physical address instead of my mailing address, which I have had since 2016. And I think that's why there was a communication issue there. But I have been in the same address, same mailing address since 2016. And just for some reason, 2 of those years, they sent it to the wrong address and I never received the bill. So I'm asking for the county commission to please consider waiving the late fee. And I am happy to pay for the ambulance fee for the missing years.
How much is the late fee, Ms. Rucker?
Well, it was a little bit confusing. It looks like $15, but I am confused as to whether that's per year or complete, like 15 for both. I can't really tell from the letters.
All right, Michelle Gordon's here. She'll clarify some of that.
It's $15 per year. There are 3 late bills, so it's a total of $45. And I can confirm that we did mail the bills to her physical address. I believe she did change her address at the tax office, but not with the assessor, and that's why we mailed it to her physical address. We did actually get returned mail this spring, and that's when we changed it to her PO box.
Okay.
It's just not within my purview to waive 3 years worth of late fees. That's why she's bringing it to you.
It's, Patricia, have you paid this? Do you need a reimbursement or a waiver?
I have paid for this year, so I just need a waiver for 2 years.
Okay. I'll move to approve the waiver of $45 back to the citizen for the late fees of the, I guess, the ambulance fee. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
I'm going to move around the schedule just a little bit. After the schedule went out, JB called me. He wanted to make a presentation. He does have to get on the road, and I was hoping we would have a little bit of a lull here in between some of our agenda items, and we don't as yet. We usually we're running ahead of schedule by several minutes. So I want to go ahead and bring JB up here. We're going to jump to new business item number 13, JB McCuskey. He's your West Virginia State Auditor. Go ahead, sir. The floor is yours.
Sure, I'll get you back ahead of schedule. So I was supposed to have the person who knows how to use the computer with me. And his car broke down on the way here. So you'll just have to listen to an old man try to navigate the internet, which is hard. But there was 2 other things I wanted to talk to you guys about first. So first, we have probably our biggest piece of legislation that our office has ever put out coming in front of the legislature next year. So we're the land commissioner for the state, and we just heard some of the property tax valuations and things of that nature. And there's a real issue now with our office. So we are in charge of selling all this delinquent property. And I just walked around your beautiful town a little bit. It appears you have a little bit less of a problem with delinquent homes and property than we have in a lot of other parts of our state, but it's still a huge problem. And it's a fire hazard. It is an attraction for drug activity, prostitution, and it's a general eyesore, and it also lowers people's property values. But when we sell property, we're now being sued by the people who didn't pay their taxes, claiming that our notice wasn't good enough. And then we changed our notice provisions to try to comply with the federal ruling. And now we're getting sued by the buyers who aren't getting deeds because we can't notify everyone. And so it's becoming very, very difficult for us to even dispose of this property. And so what we did, essentially, like so many things else in West Virginia, this system was designed in 1850, and we don't live in 1850 anymore. And the way that our property sale system works is it really incentivizes investors who are looking for interest as opposed to actual occupants and people who are going to buy, live in this property and use it for the betterment of their community. And so our plan has really 3 parts. The main part is to come up with a way that current property owners and people who are living in their home who've come across hard times can figure out a payment plan or a way to keep them in their house so that their houses aren't getting sold from underneath them. It's most important to keep people that live in their homes if possible. Second, we are going to create a statewide land bank funded by the legislature, hopefully, that will give counties and cities first priority on this property when it becomes available, and give them the resources they need to either refurbish it or tear it down. The idea being that our counties and our economic development groups within our counties and cities know firsthand which places are the most valuable and what they can do with them. Lastly, we're going to create a system with the Housing Development Fund where teachers, law enforcement officers, veterans, and particularly STEM subject teachers. And again, you guys don't have the same sort of problem. You guys need 2 more high schools out here. We're at 40% capacity on our math and science teachers in the entire 1st congressional district. And so we have this entire giant swath of West Virginia that we have a difficult time finding teachers, law enforcement officers. And we're going to create a program where they can borrow interest-free money and buy these houses for almost nothing. And so this entire program is designed to sort of tip the scales on when the property is being used for extreme public good. We believe that it will start to tip the scales and enable us to actually deed this property to somebody who isn't the current property owner. Because as it is, we're deeding it to people who really just want 12% interest. So it's really 2 birds with 1 stone. And I just wanted to make you guys aware of this. It's going to be something that is a big full court press for us. And it really interacts with the municipalities more than the counties. But in a county like yours, where you're constantly trying to find space for new businesses and economic development, I think that you'll have a little bit of a different perspective on what we're trying to do. And what I need you guys to do is just think about sort of what we're working on. And if there's anything that we need to tweak or make better, please let us know, because we still have plenty of time before this legislation goes out. And what our biggest hope is to make sure that it satisfies the needs of all of our local government partners. The second thing, and we'll get into this after I would love to answer any questions you guys have on ARP's pending. I know that this is it's a tricky set of guidance. I know that with the CARES Act, you guys were presented with an enormous amount of money and almost no guidance. And it scared a lot of local governments. And our office has undertaken an effort to not only create some financial products that are going to make reporting to the federal government wildly easier, they're going to make everything that you do more transparent with your constituents, but also it's going to enable you to be more confident that the money you're spending will match the guidelines and people aren't going to be coming back for it. Because there's nothing worse with this kind of money than inaction. It's designed for a purpose. It's designed to help our communities. And what we want to do is sort of supplant this consultant class that descends on counties and cities when they get all this money and say, hey, for 10% of your award, we'll help you spend it. Well, you have a consultant, and that's us. And it's our job. I'm sure you've got more than one. And the beginning, middle, and end of every federal money fraud that we have begins, middles, and ends with a consultant from somewhere else. And so our office is here. We cost nothing, or as my mother would say, we're included, like breakfast at the Greenbrier. But we're here to help you guys navigate this incredibly complex set of regulations. And then lastly, which is what Skylar was going to be here to help you do, you guys are in the final stages of your checkbook setting. And this is the list of the completed ones. There's about 20 other counties who are in the completion process. I'm going to have her click on Mon County's one because you guys are one of our few full suite partners. So you guys will have more access to this data. And it's actually interesting to go right behind the county financial manager, because all of the things that she was describing to you are the things that you'll now have access to in real time at your fingertips. And so what our office can now do and will do when your site is done, the 5 commissioners here will all have your own sites. You can build it to any spec you want. We'll train you on how to use it. And you can start to track whatever part of the county finances that you are the most interested in. One of the things that we find is that the accounting systems of our local governments are not designed for the commissioners. They're not designed for city council people. They're not designed for legislators. They're not designed for me. They're designed for the person who understands how to use the accounting system. One of the main things that Checkbook does is it gives decision makers a window into their own finances in a way that they understand, that isn't mired in computer science, essentially. More importantly, it shows the people who are not sitting in front of me, but sitting behind me, exactly the same information. So this money, and what this proves is that you guys believe this too, which I truly appreciate, because there is nothing to me more important than this. This is all the citizens of Jefferson County's money, and they deserve and the right and to have access to what you're doing with it. And so the list of vendors, where we are on trend lines on revenue, all of these things are metrics that they use to hold all of us accountable. And there is nothing more important than giving our constituents the ability to look us in the eye with accurate information and tell us whether or not we're doing a good job. And this gives them that tool. And we're really, really proud of the work that we've done, but we're more proud when we did this to ourselves. So if you want to go see what my office does or what the state does, every single dollar of state spending is on the West Virginia checkbook. And in about a month, you guys will have the exact same tool in Jefferson County. And what this will end up starting to do is to automate a lot of these processes. It'll start making your financial statements easier to pull up and to show and to manipulate and to look through. And it's just generally good government. We all live in a place now where our citizens, they trust us less than they used to. And this is a really strong bridge of trust, in my opinion, that gets beyond the Facebook rumors, gets beyond the Twitter malarkey, and you can look at people and say, you know, this is what we've actually done with your money. And the most important feature, I believe, from your all's standpoint, is it creates something called stories. And so within each one of your all's portal, you'll have the ability to pull up any line item of spending, link the actual project. You can go take pictures. It's a sidewalk or a road paving project or you name it. Show the progress, show the spending, show the vendors, and then it immediately turns it into a Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok post so that you, each commissioner, will have the ability to communicate with your constituents on the campaign and governmental promises that you've made and show people that this money is actually going where it's supposed to. And with the ARP funding, nothing will be more important than showing people that we've done the right thing with this money. We don't have the luxury of wasting it again. Everybody here has been through $1 billion round of federal funding before, and you get 8 years down the road, 10 years down the road, and everyone says, well, what the hell happened to all that money? Well, we don't have that luxury again. We have $4.5 billion between our cities and counties and school boards. And the citizens of West Virginia are going to be very, very cognizant of what we do with that money. In fact, if you guys are willing to put it online, it means that you're going to do the right thing. And we're really, really happy that you guys are willing to do that. And with that, I'd love to answer any questions you guys have on ARP funding or any of this stuff. And I believe we're about a month away from you guys having your site launched. And if you want to go have some fun, get on the West Virginia Checkbook site and hold us accountable because we deserve it too.
Well, and when more counties are done with these checkbook or entered into the system, it'll be curious to compare. Of course, I know revenue is different between each county, but it'll really be interesting.
Sometimes it's more than curious. What we've also found is that counties will frequently find that they're paying too much for services.
Yeah. Right.
And so, you know, when Jefferson County is able to look at Mineral County and Mineral County can look at Harrison County and Harrison County can look at Clay County and they all say, we all buy fuel and we all buy computer paper, and we all buy this stuff. How are you able to get it at this unit price? Who are you dealing with? It really makes it starts to create a world where our vendors have to really work hard to make sure that we're all getting the best price. And that's important because the price that we're paying is with somebody else's money.
I have along those lines, if I may.
Sure, absolutely.
So, and I use your website now where, you know, all the counties file their annual budget, their annual levy estimates. And it's really good to compare what Jefferson County is doing versus what other counties, especially our neighboring counties. And sometimes I think our citizens do that same thing since there, and they look and they say, well, you know, Berkeley County isn't spending as much money as we're spending. But sometimes when I look at those counties, there are revenues that are not included because, like, I'll use the ambulance fee as an example. So Berkeley County collects their revenue in a different place.
Yep.
So it does not appear on their levy estimate. So it looks like they're not spending money on, you know, that whole revenue isn't there.
We're missing context.
Yes. And I don't know if the checkbook will address that.
So it can very easily. So one of the beautiful things about it is you can add any layer of context you want.
Okay.
So this is an issue where you have people from your county are misunderstanding the way that you collect your levies. You create a story on the front page, it's a tile, and you just make it, this is the report on fire levy recovery.
Okay.
And then you can add the context on how you do it, why it differs from the other counties, and then it's one click for everyone to see, including the commissioners.
Yeah.
On the other hand, one of the more macro elements of this project that's really important to us is it's starting to unify the way that everyone does these processes. They're all supposed to do them the same way, but there's a million different charts of accounts. There's a million different ways of collecting it. There's a million different ways of processing it. And what a lot of local governments don't see is that we do 1,800 audits. We do 1,800 budget revisions. We do 1,800 of all of these things. And when they come in 1,800 different ways, it really makes it take a very long time. And so one of the end results of this project for us is to make the audit process more similar across all of the different local governments to start to I mean, technically, everyone has to do it one way.
And
Um,
that's what the citizens.
It's very, very hard to enforce anything when you're only given a carrot.
Right.
And so, and there is.
And that's not, I'm not.
No, it's fine. This is a problem that was allowed to languish for a very long time. And it's something that, we weren't given a giant budget or a bunch of people to fix.
Right.
And there is a level of technology that exists in the world that fixes so many of these problems. And I believe you guys just got a new ERP system, didn't you?
Yes.
And so your new ERP system will likely feed the data into this in a much more efficient way for us and for you. And so what I think going forward is that all of you all will have access to a level of information you've never had before, which should make you better decision makers. One of the things that drove me to this was when I was in the legislature, we were guessing, right? We were guessing on so many things, and it wears on you when you're making these very, very important decisions with year-old data. And this gives you a window into what's happening right now.
Awesome. Does anybody have any questions for JB?
No, my only question would be when does it start?
It starts as soon as we can get it done. And this is not on your all's end. So we're doing 20 of them right now. You guys, I believe, are at the very front of the class. And so I think you should be done potentially in a week, but I would say no longer than a month.
I mean, Michelle can speak to this, but I believe our ARP link is live, correct?
ARP is already live. It
Good.
was live on that last week. And I
Beautiful.
sent the sample-
This is why we need Skylar, stupid steering.
I sent the sample data to
Skylar.
Skylar and Anthony, I believe, today.
Beautiful.
So we should be live.
I love it. And when you live in a place where people are trying to get to, which you guys do, showing people from the outside world that they're moving into a government that they can trust, I think is, I mean, it's probably not something that people think about until they do. If I had to guess.
But yeah, I think the program sounds great. Is it something that other states have implemented as well?
Not like this. So we are actually the most transparent state government in the United States. And part of that ranking is that our local governments have decided to become partners with us in this as well. And so, this isn't something that we could have done alone. It has an enormous amount of benefits for the public, an enormous amount of benefits for you guys. But I would be remiss to say that it has an enormous benefit for our local government services and our audit people too.
Awesome.
One more question.
Sure.
Where is the legislation that you're proposing this?
It's sitting on my general counsel's desk.
Oh,
and he's
okay,
still
but
working
I
on
would just like to look at it.
Well, and as soon as it's done, I'll get it to you guys.
Okay.
It touches so many parts of the code that it has become
Oh,
an 8,000-pound gorilla of a
Yeah.
bill to write. And we really got to get it right the first time.
Yeah.
So we're
Yeah,
working.
but that sounds like.
But the general idea, I
Moving in
think
the right
you kind of
direction.
understand.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're working on.
Awesome.
Commissioner, thank you.
Thank
If
you.
you guys don't have any other questions, I'm going to get back on 68.
All
I'm
right.
going to get on 51 and then 68. Yeah.
Thank you for coming up. I know you have a long way home.
Yeah, and just so you guys know, anytime you need anything from me, just holler. I know that you guys are far enough from Charleston that it feels like we're never here. But this is part of my district and I need to be here as much as I need to be anywhere else. If you need me, you let me know. We'll make it happen. Thank you guys very much.
Watch for the deer on the way home.
Well, you were.
All right, we're gonna move on to agenda number 5, Steve Cox, Jefferson County Sheriff's Deputy Civil Service Commissioner. And I think he's requested a civil service training request. Good, sir.
Yeah, Eric Stick here. Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Steve Cox. I'm one of 3 appointed Jefferson County Sheriff Deputy Civil Service Commissioners. So I happen to be your representative on that board. As a result of a recent request by the sheriff to make appointment to deputy and other associated findings I have made during my short term as Civil Service Commissioner, I am here to request a training seminar specifically for the Jefferson County Civil Service Commission. However, I believe the training should be offered to all persons who would benefit from it, such as elected county commissioners like yourself who make the appointments to the board, elected county clerks who serve as the clerk for the Civil Service Commission, the elected sheriff, all staff that is involved in civil service procedures, especially chiefs of staff or other investigative staff of the law enforcement body who perform internal investigations on deputies and other Eastern Panhandle governments. I have already spoken to a few, such as Berkeley County, Ranson, Charlestown. They have all expressed an interest in this training. I don't believe, at least in my 20 plus years serving in law enforcement around this area, don't believe that this training has ever been offered in the Eastern Panhandle. It is quite often offered in the central part of the state, but not as far as I have ever seen up here. This training could mean the difference between a properly executed process and a lawsuit for an improperly executed process. Some of the duties for the Civil Service Commission for sheriff deputies are as follows: appointments to deputy, promotions of the deputies, demotions of the deputies, and the removal of deputies. West Virginia State Code, backed up by case law, dictates how these processes must be completed through competitive examinations. The Civil Service Commission also acts as an investigative body and a hearing panel for internal sheriff deputy issues. The Civil Service Commission performs these functions in conjunction with other entities. However, some entities should not be in the process or in some parts of this process. For instance, some processes that are kind of farmed out to individuals that should not be involved would be appointments to deputies, the acceptance and security of those applications for appointments to deputy, the list that is generated from the processes that is state mandated that are provided to the sheriff for the appointments. Got a couple of handouts here I'd like to give you guys. While I'm handing these out, I want you to keep in mind that I'm attending a examination in 2 days as requested by Sheriff Hanson. I have not been provided any information as to the examination, nor have I been asked to act in my official capacity, nor have I acted in my official capacity as the state law would require. The training that I'm requesting will be performed by John Tier. Mr. Tier is a subject matter expert on the West Virginia Civil Service Code, Chapters 7 and 8. The training can possibly provide up to 4 to 8 hours of in-service credit training for law enforcement officers who attend. Now that's if we open this up and we bring in those individuals who conduct like internal investigations and such. They can receive internal or credit hours which are actually mandatory for the year anyhow. Mr. Tier is a member of the West Virginia Bar Association, currently serves as the retained attorney for multiple civil service commissions throughout the state, the Chief of Police Association and the State's Sheriff's Association, and provides litigation services for probably hundreds, if not thousands, of law enforcement officers throughout the state and agencies. Between 2008 and 2018, I worked as a subject matter expert instructor in law enforcement. And I genuinely have a love for training. I see that it is necessary. And in this situation, I do believe it is necessary. And I'm asking you to approve the training. With your approval, we can successfully move forward with Sheriff Hanson's request for appointment of deputy. And I will set up and arrange all necessities to conduct the training seminar. So I guess that leads me to a cost amount. Mr. Tier, again, I've known Mr. Tier for 20 years. He was my criminal law instructor. I have called on him more than a few times for advice in law enforcement matters. He is, I consider him to be a friend. When I called and asked him if he was available for a seminar, he said, of course, Steve, I am. He said, you just tell me when to be there and I'll do it. And I said, well, what's it going to cost us? He said, I'm not going to charge you a dime. I have a problem with Mr. Tier providing this to us for free. He has to come from Charleston. He's probably going to have to stay for 2 nights in a hotel room. And I just don't expect this man to foot all of that on his own. So I am asking for a small amount of $500 that we can pay to John Tier for his time and travels and overnight stay locally so that he can provide the training seminar as soon as possible.
Got a question. Michelle, is there a fund we could pull this out for training?
Yes, I would recommend that we use the post office fund to pay for the training for this.
Okay, I'll go ahead and move a motion to pay Mr. John Tier reimburse him up to $500 for the money to come out of our cold severance fund for the training. Mr. Cox is requesting for the civil service training. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
So you mentioned Berkeley County. Is this cost shares? It's just a portion of the
So somebody's got to end up kind of sponsoring it. What will end up happening is we're going to end up needing, I'm probably going to do like a $20 per head on law enforcement officers because they end up having to file with the state to get hours and so on and so forth. However, civil service commissioners or anybody who wants to attend, such as you folks, all of that's going to be covered within the $500 flat rate. I'm proposing this as a Jefferson County only thing, but I would like to open it up to the other agencies. The other problem with this is maybe if I did do that, we would probably not be approved for state training hours for the law enforcement officers who attend because state law requires those training hours to be opened up. In fact, they should be opened up to the entire state, but I think I can manage to just keep it within our local area. So no, it's not a cost sharing, man. Think of it like that, but it was a straight 500 just from Jefferson County to start.
Any other questions?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes. This sounds like a wonderful initiative, but, it sounds like you'll be handling money and so forth
No, ma'am.
for this class. You said you're charging somebody
No,
$20.
so the, we won't be handling any money. It's probably going to end up going to there's a law enforcement board who's responsible for training. And that's going to get, the money's probably going to get paid to them. I think somebody just has to say, you got to pay $20
You have to
for
do
your
the
officer to come down, which would honestly be very, very cheap on a law enforcement agency to get 4 to 8 hours worth of in-service training
And
hours.
I'm not, again, I'm for the training to be held. I'm just wondering about the logistics. This room actually is not supposed to have this many people in it right now
Mhm.
due to COVID. So, where are you going to have it with how many people and have it safe and all that?
Mhm.
Those are my concerns.
So the state code requires, so that's why I asked if I could kind of run it and see it to the end. I'm going to have to work with our county clerk to find a facility where we can hold
Right,
it.
yeah.
And hopefully that'll be a county facility. That's what I'm planning on because I don't want to do anything more than $500.
I
If it's
know.
over
That
$500,
might be
then
the
we're gonna
challenge,
I'll have to come back in and talk to somebody
Yeah.
about this.
Okay, all right. I just want to make sure it's all been thought through and that your fellow civil service commissioners are in agreement and want to take the training too.
I have emailed the other 2 civil service commissioners, and I have yet to receive a response from them.
Okay, all right. All right, well,
Any other questions? All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thanks, Steve. Thank you, sir. All right, we're going to move on to agenda item number 6. Roger Goodwin, Chief County Engineer, approval to advertise to fill the planning clerk position. The floor is yours, sir.
I'm here to request approval to advertise to fill the planning clerk position in the Department of Engineering, Planning and Zoning. The position has been vacant since August. The current budgeted salary range is 33 to 35,000 a year. The proposed action is a fiscal year 2022 budget neutral action. No additional funding is needed. And I attached the detailed job description for the planning clerk position. And right now, the county planner is operating without any clerical support. And we have the zoning administrator and we have the zoning clerk who's doing double duty, trying to cover both jobs. So we really need to get the position filled, and it will take 6 months to get somebody up to speed on everything that has to be done and try to get it done right. There is no class you can send them to be a planning clerk. It's just learn on the job. And we had a person and it didn't work out, so we need to get somebody else.
Okay. I'll move to approve and advertise to fill the planning clerk position. Second.
Second.
I'll second now to stick the salary in there. Not to
sorry,
exceed the salary.
The current salary range is 33 to 35,000. Thank you. Any other, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
I bet you can sure use another person during this very busy
No
year.
doubt.
I can tell you that in building permits, we were looking at data and we are on track this year to process more than 1,200 permits, which is approximately double the number of permits we've processed in any prior year, all the way back to 2008. So we were very busy.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to agenda item number 7, Board of Appeals and Assessment. Nathan, do we have to move a motion to go into can you give me the correct language?
You just need to convene.
As the Board of Appeals and Assessment.
How about that? I will, I move a motion
Board of
to,
Assessment.
I move a motion to convene as the Board of Appeals and Assessment.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. All right, we're going to start off at the top. We'll start off with the first one, and I think you all come first, and then we'll have the resident. There you go. So I was looking for a word.
Mr. President, could I suggest that we look at the appeal of Ms. Edwards first, because I think it's going to be short.
Okay, Joyce Edwards?
Yeah, and I don't know if Mr. Katz will be shorter.
Okay, all right, we'll start with Miss Edwards, man. That's fine, that's fine. Is Miss Edwards here? Okay, thank you, ma'am. All right.
Okay, I'll just have.
Well, just hold on just a second, Ms. Edwards, and
Thank you.
we're going to legislate it for a second. Typically, we have.
Yes.
Okay.
So, I don't know if Ms. Edwards wants to come up here.
Miss Edwards, you want to come up here so you can sit in this chair right here if you like.
This is a copy of what I've given the commissioner so that you have a copy to follow with also.
Okay.
Very well, when Ms. I think we'll start with you. And Mr. President, if it's okay with you, I'll just ask Ms. Bowers some questions.
Sure. Absolutely.
Ma'am, could you say your name for the record, please?
My name is June Bowers, and I am the senior appraiser for the assessor's office.
And Ms. Bowers, did you have an opportunity to perform the evaluation of this property? Did they not swear you in?
No, nobody's been sworn in.
Okay. Well, let's do that.
So you need to swear in both of these folks if they're going to testify.
All right. Since you're going to testify, I guess you need to raise your right hand. And do you have any language for me, sir? Legal?
Just, do you promise to testify truthfully?
Do you both agree to testify truthfully?
Yes.
All
Yes, I
right.
do.
Thank you. All right, proceed, Mr. Donovan.
All right, here we go. Ms. Bowers, did you have the opportunity to perform evaluation on Ms. Edwards' property?
Yes, I did.
And ma'am, you had provided us with a variety of documents when you first came here. The top document appears to be a letter from Ms. Edwards to the county commissioner. Is that right?
Yes.
So could you, and then the second document, could you tell us what that is?
Okay, the second document is our review document. This is basically our property record card. It has all the information on Ms. Edwards' property that we utilize to appraise it.
And then the third document appears to be a map or plat of some kind.
Yes, it is actually a map of the subdivision where Ms. Edwards lives. The subject property is in purple. The three other properties are sales in that particular neighborhood that sold during the time period for the 2021 tax year.
All right. Then the next document is titled Contract for Construction of Dwelling on Energy Building Site.
Yes, this is something that Ms. Edwards gave us. It's actually her contract to build her house.
All right. And then there's another document that's titled Assessor of Jefferson County. It appears to be a letter from Ms. Banks to Ms. Edwards.
Yes, we did not have a phone number or email for Ms. Edwards, so we did have to send her a link to inform her of the hearing date and time.
All right, there's one more document that's titled the Notice of Increase in Assessment. Can you tell us what that is?
Okay, this is the 10% letter that we send out anytime that an assessment goes up 10% or more. The property owners receive a letter informing them there is an increase. In this particular case, Ms. Edwards had the house built and the house was completed. That's the reason for the increase of the property.
Very well. And Mr. President, for purposes of this hearing, I would like to move these documents into the record. Hearing no objection. Very well. Ms. Bowers, let's get back to your testimony. Did you have the opportunity to perform an evaluation on Ms. Edwards' property?
Yes, I did.
And could you explain to the commissioners the process that you use in conducting an evaluation?
We basically maintain the property records. We review sales and look at sales within the given neighborhoods throughout the county each year. We will make adjustments within those neighborhoods, which may be rural, may be subdivisions. This particular case, it is within the Chaplain Choice subdivision in Shepherdstown. We do look at the sales, we make adjustments to values based on that sale, those sales on a year-to-year basis.
Okay. And so what did your evaluation of this property?
Okay, Ms. Edwards has a lot in Chaplain's Choice. It's a 100 by 200 lot. We have the land, which the land value includes all of the utilities, all of the improvements to the land itself are within the land value. We have a land value of 99.9 on her land. The house, according to this, and you all can follow me here, it is, if you look down here.
Which document are you referring to?
I'm talking about the review document, the property record card. Here in the center, it basically gives the house information on Miss Edwards' property. The house was built in 2019. It's on a crawl space. It is heated and cooled by heat pump. It has 3 bedrooms, 2 full baths, and a total square footage of 1,472 square feet based on exterior measurements. We have the land value at 99.9. We have the house appraised at 161,500 for a total appraised of 261,400.
Now, what is, with regard to this hearing, we're looking at the valuation only, correct?
We're looking at the appraised value that we have put on her property based on the amenities of her home and the sales within that subdivision.
And you compare the various properties in this.
Yes. During that time period, and we are looking at the 2021, which is July 1st of 2019 to June 30th of 2020. In that time period in Ms. Edwards' subdivision, there were 3 sales. The sales range is 220,000 to 264,000. The homes that sold within her subdivisions were built in the early 1990s. And let's see here. I mean, using the higher end, just the $274,000 sale, that house was built in 1991. It is on a crawl space. It has no central air. It has 2 full baths. It is 1,762 square feet. But as I say, it was built in 1991, where Miss Edwards has been built in 2019.
Ms. Bowers, how are you qualified?
Well, I was trained by Kohler and Trumbull, which is the company that actually did the reappraisal back in the 1980s. I also worked for a state tax department, working in the local area. So I was actually trained by the company that actually did this reappraisal. And I have worked for the county for over 30 years, doing the job I'm doing now.
Is there anything else that you want to tell?
That's really about it. Now, we are looking at appraised values. As far as, paying taxes, you pay taxes on 60% of the appraised value. That is considered the assessment. And I really don't have a whole lot more unless somebody has questions.
The document that was entitled Contract for Construction, do you know what the significance of that document?
The contract, what you buy a lot for and build a house for is one value. When a contractor buys a lot, builds a house, when they actually sell it on the open market, it's going to be more than what it actually costs to build it and the initial land price, as far as my experience in the field.
And so to your knowledge, does this contract indicate that there was a new house constructed on this lot in approximately 2019?
Yes.
And the other houses that you compared with this house were?
There's older homes. Like I say, all 3 of the homes were built in the early 1990s. Houses, as far as the way our appraisal system goes, houses depreciate as they get older. As you do repairs and add things to them, we will add that to the appraisal. But you would expect a new house to sell for more than something that's older and would need more maintenance and upkeep.
Very well. So just once again, could you tell us how much the value that you placed on this house?
Yes, we have, Miss Edwards, we have a total appraised for the land and the house of $261,400. I'm sorry, yes.
That's all I have.
All right, do you want to state your case, ma'am? I know we just went over some comps, and do you have anything to add to it that you would like to say?
Well, my main agenda for being here is the builder that built my home built it for me. He did not build it and then sell it for a higher value. He built it for me for $170,000, and I paid $25,000 for the lot. And I think I may have sent you all that information. So my main agenda is how much more the appraisal is when that's the amount of money I have in it. And then in 2020, my taxes went from $1,027 per year to $1,856 just in 1 year, from 21 to 21, 20 to 21. And I've sent copies where I should have had the homestead exemption, or I should have the exemption for being permanent disability. And I didn't receive any of this. I don't understand what's going on, that none of this has been brought forward since my home was completed in 2019, the end of it, the year, which I can understand I wouldn't get anything for 2019, because I do understand. I haven't gotten anything.
All right, could you address the homestead and disability?
The homestead, I believe has been,
Do I need to be sworn in?
yeah. If you're the
Do you swear to tell the whole truth? And be- All right, yes, ma'am, you're sworn in.
Okay, I looked over Ms. Edwards' information, and now 2020, we did not have a completed house, correct?
There was a partial house for
So
2020.
you can't, yeah, and that's based on July 1st of 19. Ms. Edwards bought her house after July 1st of 19. Or at least bought the land and then they built the house. But for 20, what did we have, about 50% completion?
I'd have to look back. I don't know off the top of my head, but when we pick up new homes, we actually go out the week of the July 1st and see where the homes are as of that time. We do pick up a home as far as a partial, as far as a percent complete. And then we will come back the following year and pick it up as complete if it is.
Okay.
So as of the time period for the 2020, the house was not complete and was not occupied.
Yeah, it was, for 20 was still under the Bowers. It wasn't even in your name for the tax year 2020. You see the Bowers is still on here because they owned it July 1st of 19.
This is funny.
Yeah, this is the 2020 ticket, but the assessment is based on July 1st, 2019.
This is your name, you know. It took forever.
Right, so for 21, you are eligible. And I told you I would do an exoneration because you said you were in the office last year.
Oh, yes.
And I think it was a misunderstanding because you did live here within that 10-year period.
Right.
That you didn't have to prove your residency. So we discussed this on the phone today, and I have the form for you to sign tomorrow. So you will get your homestead next year, and you'll be on the agenda, the next county commission meeting to get an exoneration, which that 20,000 homestead is worth about $240.
Could we let the record reflect that the third party that was speaking is the assessor?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Typically, we do motions to accept or deny the request to adjust. Okay, all right, that's what I thought. I'll go ahead and start then. With the information that was presented to us, the comps were certainly in the range that they used. The comps that they were using were homes that are roughly 30 years old. And I think the comps do represent the current market and the current value. So the fact that, we were using, or excuse me, the assessor was using a comp from 1990 is coming in around just slightly under what they had the house appraised for. And of course, it's a newer home with updated probably everything. I think the comps that they used were probably fair market. I would, what's the request would be to I guess my motion would be not to move a motion not to accept any changes to this request here. And that's the exoneration. Or then they're going to do the exoneration.
That's going to be another.
Okay, all right. And do we have a second?
So I'm not clear on what your motion is.
Oh, sorry. I don't know if I'm just rambling here.
You could say to deny.
Yeah, I mean, maybe a little bit. My motion is to deny the appeal.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And you get with Ms. Banks? Yeah,
Okay, but I have
Miss-
another
sure.
problem
Mhm.
I need to address, and I don't know if I should do it here or not.
If you're not on the agenda, it's probably not. I would talk to Ms. Banks tomorrow.
It don't have to do with her, it has to do with, Angela, lower storm.
Okay. Well, if you're not on the, ma'am,
We can only address things on the agenda.
yeah, so,
And that's not on our agenda.
so we would violate.
Being here, that, it's gotta be two separate things.
Mhm.
Yeah,
No, I'm here.
and so the public knows what we will be discussing
Okay,
tonight.
so,
Yeah.
and that won't be to next year? When do you have another meeting?
You have to request.
Yeah, next month.
You have to
Yeah.
request
Next
the
month.
commissions to address another issue.
2 weeks, yeah.
In 2 weeks. We have a meeting first and third Thursday. And you can request to be on our agenda, or if there was something you need to talk to Ms. Storm, she's actually in the room, you could probably maybe, she's behind you, and well, we cannot violate open meetings act to jump on the
I'll
meeting.
try working with her.
Yeah, we'll be in trouble.
On the agenda.
Mr. President, for purposes of the record, I am providing the documents that we moved into the record. I've labeled them as A1 through A6 for the assessor. I'm going to provide those, I guess, in lieu of having our secretarial's person here to the county administrator.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
If you will call me, I will send you an agenda request form, and then you can submit that to the commission office, and then you can discuss your problem at the meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Thank
and my phone number's in the book.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Next, we have Mr. David Camp. Come on up, sir. All right, sir, you don't mind if you can raise your right hand and swear to tell the truth?
I do.
Thanks, sir. All right, you're sworn in.
Mr. President, I would note for the record that Ms. Bowers and Ms. Banks, the assessor, were previously sworn.
The floor is yours, sir.
Very long. Ma'am, I know that you have provided us with several documents. Could you describe what those documents are?
Okay, the one on top is actually the appeal form that Mr. Tab filled out. He had originally filed in February and decided to continue until October. So this is a application that Mr. Tab provided to us. The second one is the property record or the review document for Mr. Tab's property, for one of his properties. He is appealing 2 different properties. Then there is an appeal form for the second property that Mr. Tab is appealing. Following that is the review document or property record card. Then you have a map that I've outlined the 2 properties. One being the 20.68 acre tract and the other one is a 1.18 acre tract, and it has an 8.4 and an oval.
And that's where the mobile home is.
That's where there is actually a personal property mobile home. We have the land done as real estate. The mobile home is done as personal property to Mr. Tab.
Oh, okay.
The next document is a sales ratio of Mr. Tab's neighborhood for the time period in question, which is the 2021 tax year.
I'm sorry, I need to recuse myself.
You can stay.
That's all right.
You'll join us later.
And this document is what we use to actually bring our values in line with market value. The first page is the actual sales in this neighborhood, which is the rural neighborhood of Harpers Ferry District, excuse me. The second page is an analysis of this sales ratio. I have highlighted the number of sales, which is 7, and the aggregate ratio, which is what we look at on each neighborhood. This one we did raise slightly, but it is still on the low side.
Let's identify the documents and then we'll come back to that.
Okay, all right, then we'll come back to that. Okay, excuse me. The next is actually an email that the assessor sent to Mr. Tab to inform him of the hearing this evening. And the last is a letter from Mr. Tab informing the county clerk that he would like to reschedule in October rather than his hearing being in February.
Mr. President, I have labeled each of these documents A1 through 8, and I believe that document number A6 has 2 parts. And so I would like to ask that they be placed in the record.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Hear no objection. Okay, ma'am, could you state your name for the record?
My name is June Bowers, and I'm the senior appraiser for the assessor's office.
And Ms. Bowers, could you tell us how that you're qualified?
Yes, I was actually trained by Kohler and Trumbull, which is the company that had the contract to do the reappraisal throughout the state of West Virginia. I also work for the state tax department doing appraisal reviews, and I've worked for the assessor's office for over 30 years.
Doing this type of work?
Yes, as an appraiser.
Could you explain what steps that you went through to do this appraisal? And first of all, could you tell us why, could you just tell us what you're actually looking for when you do this?
As I said, we look at the sales in each neighborhood throughout the county. We look at what our appraised values are in comparison to the sales. Then we will do overall increases on the land based on those sales if necessary, and also reduce them. We've gone both ways, depending on how our appraisals compare to the sales.
So what did you look at to compare to Mr. Clark's?
Well, we actually review each property in a 3-year cycle. We actually physically go to properties every 3 years, which is required by the state, to check the listing, to make sure there's been no changes, to make sure that our information is correct. Then in turn, as I say, we look at these sales and we make changes to overall values based on those sales.
So what properties did you look at?
We had a total of 7 sales in this neighborhood that were considered. We also, as far as looking at the sales, we do send letters out to make sure that these sales are open market, that there was not any relationship. Nobody was approached to purchase the property, that it was actually advertised on the open market and is an arm's length sale.
So
And
what conclusions did you draw?
As far as this particular tax year, I mean, there was a very slight increase in the land values. And do you want me to start going into the actual appraisal? All right, the first appeal that Mr. Tabb has, first property Mr. Tabb has appealed, is actually a 1.18 acre piece of land that is improved. Now, the mobile home is not actually appraised on the real estate. It is done as personal property, but all the utilities, well, septic, any of the improvements to the land itself is in the land value. We have a appraised value on this 1.18 acres in Halltown at $46,500.
And I would note for purposes of the record that I have marked that appraisal as Exhibit A2, which would be the second page of the documents that you see. Ms. Bowers, there's a document which would be the first page marked as A1 that says application for review of properties. Now, what is that?
That is an application that the property owner would fill out if they feel that our appraisals are incorrect and what they feel that the appraisal is on the property.
So your appraisal was $46,500 for this lot, 1.777 acres. And Mr. Tabb's value was $30,000. Is that right?
That is correct.
And your appraisal was based on your review of other properties and your experience as appraisers?
Yes.
Are you using the market value approach?
Yes, we are.
Good. So what else did you review of Mr. Tabb's properties?
Okay, you want to get into the second one then?
Sure.
The second one is actually the property where Mr. Tabb lives and runs a business. It is a total of 20.68 acres. It is in Halltown. The land is improved with a house and a business and is actually has tillable and pasture land too. I mean, it is being used partially as a farm. The appraisal on the land is $154,400. The house, the business, and the outbuildings are a total appraised of $148,900 for a total appraised of $303,300.
And how did you arrive at that number? 303,300?
It is based on the breakdown of the land as far as the home site, the property where the business is located, and the balance of the land. We have 13.68 acres in tillable. We have 2 acres in pasture, and we also have wasteland that cannot be used for anything. We have a 2 acre, it's classified as undeveloped, that is for the business itself. And then there's a 1 acre home site. The home site includes in a larger acreage, the 1 acre home site picks up the utilities as far as your well, your septic, landscaping, driveway, all of that is basically in that 1 acre home site.
Is that reflected in the document that is a plat or a map?
Yes, this is an actual copy of the tax map. And you can see how the land sits. This is Whole Town Road that goes through the little community of, or the little town of Whole Town.
So with regard to the $303,300 figure, again, could you describe how that you compared other properties to this property?
Okay. The house is an older home. It's 2,044 square feet based on exterior measurements. It is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. There are multiple outbuildings, a barn, pole buildings, and the AX1 is the structure that the business sits in. And the property is reviewed, like I say, every 3 years. We do have somebody go out just to verify the information to make sure that our listing's correct. Any sale that we utilize to change value, we actually go out and review those properties when they sell within that time period. So we make sure that when we're utilizing these sales, that our listing is correct to begin with. So we are using good information to make our changes to value.
Is that how you do a market value? Could you explain generally the principles underlying a market value appraisal?
I'm not quite sure what you're asking.
How do you perform a market value?
Well, as I say, the starting point is that we actually review the properties that have sold to make sure that our listing is correct. Using sales that our listing isn't correct is not good. You know, it's not going to give us a good appraised value for that area. So the first step, as I say, is to review the property to make sure the property is listed correctly. Then we actually look at our current appraised value in comparison to the sales. If we see that our appraisals are low based on the current asking or what people are willing to pay for properties, then we will make adjustments up. We also have had years that it goes the other way, that our appraisals are actually on the high side and we have to adjust down. But as I say, we do make sure that our sales are listed correctly, so we're using good information to make these overall adjustments. This is a mass appraisal system. You know, we do not use comparables per se. We can look for comparables, but it is a mass appraisal and it is done in large, you know, sometimes large areas.
So the document that's titled Application for Review of Property Assessment, which I have marked for purposes of the record as Exhibit A3, that says $125,000. Now, is that the value that Mr. Cabot?
Yes, Mr. Tab actually, you know, gave us these applications, so yes, I would say that's what he feels it's worth.
All right, and your value was again?
It was $303,300.
And moving ahead to this document, which I've labeled as A6 and A6A. Could you tell us the significance of this document?
Okay, this is actually a copy of the sales ratio for Mr. Tapp's property. It lists the properties that have sold, the sale date, what our appraised values are, land, building total, the actual sale price, and then the ratio between our appraisal and the sale price. Going to page 2, this is the analysis for this particular neighborhood. What we are looking at is to get, our goal is really to get this aggregate ratio to at least between 90 and 110%. This particular case, we did make an adjustment up, but didn't quite make it to the actual 90%. Some years the market will change drastically. And our job is to come to approximate market value without hopefully not putting people out of their homes. So there are times that we do not get up to the sales ratio, but the overall county does come into our 90 to 110 percentile.
And so you relied on the numbers in these documents to make your determination.
That's how this mass appraisal system works.
Could we look at document number 7, which would be an email from assessor user to David Tabb dated October 8th, 2021?
Yes, this is an email that the assessor, Ms. Banks, sent to Mr. Tabb to inform him of the date and time of the appeal.
Could we look at the last document, which is dated February 17th, 2021? Could you describe what that is?
Okay, initially, Mr. Tabb had wanted his appeal in February. This is a letter to the county clerk stating that he would like to move it to the October Board of Appeals.
Okay, so Ms. Bowers, do you have anything else that you would like to show?
No, not really. No, I can't think of anything.
That's all I have.
All right, good, Mr. Tabb.
First off, I have a case against the county commission, your attorney, the prosecuting attorney, the county, Ms. Grove, the circuit court judge, and the circuit clerk, pending in the West Virginia Supreme Court. Original case 19P69. Supreme Court case 210229.
What does this have to do with our documents here we're talking about tonight? So if you can get back on track where we're are you suggesting we can't hear your case here tonight because you're suing us or not?
It's a conflict of interest. You're going to make a decision on me tonight of whether the assessment is correct, which you receive funding for. And when you're in violation, or at least in a proceeding, then it's a conflict of interest to make a decision on others while I am requesting a decision on you.
So you request we table all this tonight?
You can do whatever you want. There's actually provisions in the code that the assessor, 5 days prior to this hearing, is required to contact the state auditor. I haven't seen that document. So within that structure, if they haven't, then they're in violation for not contacting them to see what their pleasure is. I didn't make these laws, legislators did. So if all the paperwork hasn't been done properly and timely,
We can't consider that. Do you want to speak to your properties?
I would get back on point, sir. I mean, we're here to talk about the values that they use versus the values you think you use. I mean, that's where I would like to go to with this conversation. Sorry.
Again, since I have filed papers on the commission and other people within the county that are going to receive funding, all those departments receive funding. And it would be a conflict of interest for you to make a decision on me while these other proceedings are still in play. So it's your pleasure, what you want to do, and then I will.
Mr. President, I don't understand this. Is Mr. Tabb saying that he wishes to withdraw his appeal?
No.
Leave?
No.
I don't think that we're.
You can postpone it. You can dismiss it. But with the underlying issues, I would probably suggest, since there's no paperwork saying that they contacted the tax office within this, I'm gonna come back on the whole thing anyway. So you can either postpone it, wait for legal advice. I'd probably recommend postponing it.
I mean, I know of no reason to not pursue.
Okay.
It appears to me that
All right,
we're
well,
here properly.
I'll go ahead and move a motion. I'll move a motion to deny both requests for Mr. Tabb. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
See y'all in court.
Thank you. Again. All right, do we have anybody here from Sheets?
Anyone from Sheets there? I
They
believe they
withdrew.
Oh, they withdrew.
Yes,
They
sheets withdrew.
All right, we're done. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Don't move.
Thank you, ma'am.
So you need to.
I move to reconvene regular session.
I'll second that. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. We're going to move on to number 8, Dennis Jarvis, Jefferson County Development Authority. So come on up, sir. Sorry, we're running a little bit behind. We usually we're running ahead of schedule. So,
I appreciate the opportunity to come anytime you allow us.
Yeah,
That's, we're fine.
So
Thank you.
the floor is yours, and this is a follow-up from our last meeting.
Yes, sir.
2 weeks ago.
I had hoped that we, Mr. President, you understand more. I had hoped to come to you tonight with the recommendation from the Development Authority. I had the approval for what we talked to you prior, but you were part of our meeting. We had a technical issue with Zoom. We weren't able to hold the meeting in its entirety. We are meeting Monday, which the address you will be addressed, but I don't see any reason. I feel, I mean, we can talk to it. We have a figure, and you know, part of the executive council, you already spoke about that prior, so we can move whatever direction you want to. I don't want to come back and keep holding you all up. So
Well, I don't-
move it forward.
You have, what is that figure? Do you know?
Yes, sir. $20,000.
Okay, good. I don't see any point to keep bringing you back before us, and you were here last meeting, and
Yes,
sorry I wasn't here. I was on Zoom. I was here, but I was on Zoom. So I don't have a problem, you know, making a motion to cover this tonight. Obviously, I would ask our finance director, Michelle Gordon, you know, is where we would pull this money from.
I would recommend the coal severance fund.
Coal severance
What we had suggested last time.
Okay, and that's coal severance, okay. And I don't have a problem making a, does anybody have any questions for Mr. Jarvis? By the way, go
I
ahead.
did, just follow up from the last time, I talked about possible cost share.
Yes, ma'am.
So can you elaborate on that?
I haven't got the approval from the board
Okay,
yet, but I have had conversation with our chair, Mr. Joe, spoke with the executive group. We will be amenable to whatever the commission, however you will support us. And I can say, I feel that the board would be appreciative of whatever you chose to do, and they would act in kind of concert with whatever you asked them to do. I don't have authority on a dollar
Right,
figure, but I do have the authority to agree. We would agree in concept with whatever you all chose.
so the 20,000 is what's been negotiated.
Yes, ma'am.
That's the bottom line.
Yes, ma'am.
And I don't see the difference where it's still coming out of county funds when either his budget or our coal severance is still county money. So I don't have any.
Well, and it's my understanding the Development Authority, you know, in their budget for legal fees, it's more for property transfers and that type of thing.
Yes, ma'am. You're exactly right. So I don't have a problem moving a motion to pay this fee up to the $20,000 mark to be taken out of our coal severance fund. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your support.
And just for the record, all this was prior to you coming on board. This started back in what, 19?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I just want to make that for the record. All right, thank you.
And we're pleased it's all we're pleased it's behind us.
Yes, sir.
And we're pleased we're moving on.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you for your time, gentlemen.
All right. We're gonna move on to number 9, Emily Morris. I think they're in the hallway. Y'all can come on up front and sit up in one of these comfy chairs. Sorry, y'all been out in the hallway for so long.
That's okay.
And we're running a little bit behind too, so
Thanks.
thank you, Jane.
Oh, good evening, commissioners. So if you are not familiar with our office, my name's Emily Morrow. I'm the department head in the Agriculture and Natural Resources Extension Agent. I'll let my conference introduce themselves.
I'm Angela Lawrence. I'm the Family and Community Development Extension Agent.
And I'm Amanda Johnson. I'm the 4-H and Youth Development Agent for Jefferson County.
So if you're not familiar with how extension works in the county, we are all employed by WVU, and there's agreements with each county to provide office space, administrative support, and just some budget funds for yearly operations. This is the first time that we've had 3 extension agents fully staffed in 5 years, which is about the time that I've been employed. And as such, our programming has grown a lot. We have 2 secretaries on staff full time. We have a program assistant that is part-time, and then 3 agents as well, with the capabilities of having extra staff as well, with some positions split between Berkeley and Jefferson counties, and some positions that are temporary, like internships. So we recently learned that the Red Cross office space, which adjoins to our existing conference room space, is vacant. And our purpose for you to be here today is to request acquisition of this office space. It's quite small, but it would serve our needs very greatly. It comes with us about 2 large storage rooms and 3 additional offices. We've attached some pictures here so you can see the space. But our reasons are for requesting use is our programming has grown and our office is kind of bursting at the seams. We definitely need the additional storage space. There's certain things we have to keep for so many years for WVU regulations. There's certain things we have to keep between 2 locked doors, like for our shooting sports program. And the extra conference room space would allow us to kind of expand our programming naturally and as much as possible, and to acquire this additional room. What I also attached, we do annual quarterly reports rather for our Extension Service Committee. Jane sits on that to represent the County Commission. We also have reps from the Board of Education and those within the community. So this just gives you a picture of the type of programming we do in the county, the type of people that we serve, and the type of impact it provides. So you certainly don't have to look at these reports. They're more for your reference for the future when you see us again during the budget cycle. But if anybody has any questions, we'd be happy to take them.
Does anybody have any questions? All right.
Commissioner Stolper, I am in communication with the Red Cross from time to time. And the last communication that I received, I believe that they just want some space there at the site to park a couple trailers, disaster trailers and things like that. If they want to continue to lease building space, I'm not aware of it.
Okay, all right. No problem. I certainly don't have a problem with you guys using the vacant space. Certainly it's not being utilized at this point. So does anybody have any questions for the young ladies? If not, I'll go ahead and move a motion to accept this request for the West Virginia Extension Service to be able to use the vacant space in the building. How do I reference that building in my motion?
Public services.
Public Services Building. There we go. All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Just want to say thank y'all for all your work. I grew up operationally, as y'all know, my kids are in grade, so thank you for everything you do.
Well, and I know from 5.5 years spent in the extension office that it was very crowded then and it wasn't fully staffed. So, and I know it's amazing now with COVID times, they're assembling kits and delivering them. You know, it's people aren't coming to them. So that all just takes more space to get their programming out there. And hopefully maybe some safe space to have small groups in.
All right. Anybody else have anything? Hey, hearing nothing, none. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank y'all for coming.
Thank you.
We're going to take a 5-minute break real fast, okay? And then we'll come back in and it looks like we'll jump into the next agenda. If we need a break. Bye.
I don't know if there's anyone in the room who wants to make public comment, but if there's anyone online who wants to make public comment, let me go ahead and take different people, but let me explain the process. People online, you can raise your hand or you can send me a message and I will unmute you so that you can make your comment limited to 3 minutes.
so just let me know if you'd like to make public comment, either raise your hand icon or send me a chat message.
One thing I want to add to public comment, I do not want anybody making, I will not allow anybody to make public comments, having any negative or disparaging remarks on our staff or our commissioners tonight. Thank you. So do we have anybody that wants to make public comment? Oh, come on. You come on up, state your name.
Yes, my name is Joyce Smith, and I don't want to make any disparaging remarks. I thank everyone for their hard work. Listening to the finance presentation, it boggles my brain. I can't understand it. So with these key important, all I want to say about that is with the rumors floating around, I know the commission will do everything that they need to do to separate the facts from the rumors and also be transparent to the public with the facts. Because friends and neighbors are, saying a lot, and it's very important. You guys know that. So I hope that, happens. The other thing I just want to say real quickly is the Mountain Lake Club. I know you've received a lot of, and I've been kind of close to that situation, and I just don't understand it. I just don't understand why this permit can't go through. So I'd really respect any information and any attention you can give to that, because what's going on there, we've been waiting in that community for a long time. And there's no major renovations. It's just replacing some walls. It's not doing anything major, no major fryers, no major additions. So we'd really appreciate some attention to that. Yeah, okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Tolbert, you going to come forward? Thank you, sir. The floor is yours, sir. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening.
Yes, sir.
And I'll try to keep it short. Mike Tolbert, resident, western portion of Charleston, and also resident of Jefferson County. In May, Charlestown Department and the Department of Highways and HIMPO issued a final report proposing 3 options to alter the traffic flows on 2 city streets, Martin Luther King Avenue and West Washington Street extended. These streets effectively, as you know, turn into the Summit Point Road and the Middleway Road to Norfolk Southern rail crossings. All 3 of these options pose dangers. The list of missed issues here is as long as your arm. Dangerous as in injuries and worse. For the county, 3 danger areas scream out for your attention. First, the safety of school children on buses that travel those routes. Second, the safety of county commuters, most of whom people who do travel on those roads are county commuters. And finally, when seconds count, the response times for emergency vehicles going and returning on those roads. That happen often once a day, sometimes several times on the weekend. You have to live on those roads. The slides showing these first 3 options as they're portrayed in the report are on the first slide. The last 3 slides are something I tried to do, and I updated from the last time I spoke, that portray the railroad tracks, add additional directional arrows that show where traffic crosses over into other traffic lanes and spells out the real world impact of what these 3 options will do. So with that, I hope it has your attention, and I hope you will put a little bit of time and attention into this issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else that would like to make public comment tonight?
You have someone online, Ms. Christine Marshall.
Sure.
Ms. Marshall, you just need to unmute yourself.
Yes, hi. I would like to ask the county commission if there's actually a limit on the number of people that can attend in the county commission room, meeting room. There was an event Monday with 42 people at Monday's event for the charter school board. And was wondering if there is actually a limit, and if there is a limit, if the county commission would please make it clear to people who reserve the room to please let the people who are doing the reserving know that there is a limit on the number of people that can attend. So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, do we have anyone else who would like to make public comment?
Going through the list.
Okay, sure.
Oh, Patricia Noland. Ms. Noland, Nancy Doug.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you. And thank you for the opportunity. I just have to say, having been on the commission for 12 years prior to January of this year's, I was really disappointed in the article in the Journal today regarding the sheriff's comments. And I think the public needs to be informed, and maybe some of the commissioners need to be aware of the process that occurred when the current administrator, Ms. Grove, was hired. I was also a member of the county commission that hired the current financial director. There was an in-depth background check performed, and county commissioners, not the county administrator, the county commissioners conducted a thorough interview, which Ms. Gordon passed with flying colors. She is an asset to Jefferson County, and she is a wizard at county finances. All you have to do is listen. And if you have any questions, I know she's more than happy to answer them. When hiring county commission staff, the county commission selects the finalists from the list of applicants that are received. And that's county commissioners, not the county administrator. The county commissioners vet the applications, and then they selected the top 3 applicants, and commissioners, not the administrator, conduct the interviews. It is not done by the county administrator. The commissioners do the hiring, not the county administrator. The allegations directed at the county administrator and Ms. Gordon, our financial director, are beyond my comprehension. It's really too bad that you haven't taken the time to get to know them and to ask them questions and to learn from them. They are both bright at what they do. They're brilliant at what they do. They protect county commissioners every day from trying to make fools of ourselves, but we don't do that. We're not very good at listening sometimes. So I think you should listen, and I think you should learn. And I would like to say that it's a real travesty what's happening right now on the county commission with your own staff. And I think that you need to take another look at it and reconsider the comments that you've made. And in fact, I think you need to make a public apology to both Ms. Gordon and Ms. Grove. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. Do we have anybody else who would like to make public comment?
Scroll down the list here.
Sure.
Most of them at the top, but it doesn't always do that. We didn't have any.
You know everybody? Okay, good deal. All right, well, we'll close public comment at this time. We're going to move on to administrative reports. If you want to roll down those, Steph.
Sure. These are all related to the same thing, which is the programming of response plan, which we've been trying to accomplish for some time. To provide a little background, the Jefferson County Fire and Rescue Association does not like the quickest route module, which is what we use. It sends the quickest unit to a call. There are some problems with quickest route, and one of them was that it would send, so let's say a call is supposed to get 4 pieces of apparatus, and there's a station that has all 4 pieces of apparatus that are supposed to go on that particular nature code. So I'll pick on Citizens, because they have a ladder truck, so they usually do always get their engine and ladder at the same time, whenever there's a fire that requires electric. And so it would pull from Citizens, the engine, the ladder, and the ambulance, because all of those go on a house fire. However, there just isn't the staffing in the stations to do that. There are ways that you could modify the quickest route module to address those, but instead, Fire and Rescue decided that they would rather do a static response using the response plan module. The response plan module is a static response. It does not adjust to real time. It does not adjust if we have a road closure. It does not adjust if we have a piece of apparatus out of service. It is a bear to program the way that it has been requested, which is unit dispatching. So if you use station dispatching, which you say this is in, company two's first two area, and then company two would tell us what to add on to the call. And that happens a lot. We do have, on any fire call, the responders will put apparatus in and out of service. So they'll add on apparatus, they'll say, no, I don't want that, give me this. If you listen to a call, it can be very chaotic in those first moments of dispatch as they're, telling the dispatcher exactly what they want. We had programmed the first layer, which is 3.1 million records. However, you have to have the data to cover, you have to have to cover the units if those units are unavailable. So basically this is, we are programming in each nature code and what each fire department tells us they want in their first two area. We had reached out, I thought that perhaps we could get this project done more quickly if we reached out to vendors. And so we reached out to our CAD provider, which is Stillman. Stillman is now owned by Motorola, but it's still a subsidiary of Motorola. And they provided us the name of one vendor. We met with that vendor. When we showed them what we had finished already, they looked at it and they said that there wasn't a way that they could do that. And it's really not the programming initially, it's the maintenance of it long-term. And so we met with a second vendor and we thought we were going to get somewhere with the second vendor. And then suddenly that vendor said that they were unable to do it, that they were going to rely on someone who was a former in another agency, and that was not available. So that left us dead in the water of how do we program this, not doing it in-house. When Chris Cross was here, he had performed a lot of the initial programming along with Bill Schweitzer, who is a supervising public safety dispatcher. However, with COVID and the shortage that we have of dispatchers, it's been difficult for them to do that. Chris Cross has remained part-time on part-time staff. So he's been a part-time employee since he left. And he does occasionally do some work for us. I just happened to kind of be lamenting what we were going to do. And the IT director was in my office and he said, maybe I can help. Let me see if I can do it. So he kind of explored whether or not it was doable. And then he came back to me and said he thought he could do it. And he requested to use Chris Cross's help, who is currently an employee under E911 as a department, as a part-time. So he thinks that he can do it. I did reach out to Chris to see what the maintenance of this would look like. And he did tell me there's a 6-month lead time if there are any changes. If we change a nature code, if we change a piece of apparatus, that it will require a 6-month lead time to program it. So Russ says it is doable, but maintaining it will be difficult. And we have to decide if Chris thinks that it would create a full-time position for a CAD administrator to maintain the data. However, what we're doing right now is dispatching from a book so that we can dispatch according to the first two areas. So we're using the quickest route module, and then the dispatcher is pulling the book off, looking at what fire wants and clicking and unclicking to send what they want on the call so that we can comply with the directive of the fire commission. But that is it does take time to dispatch. So response plan will speed up the dispatch it'll speed up the dispatch. I'm not sure if it'll speed up the response, but it will speed up the dispatch because it's a static, it just populates, this is what they said they wanted, and we send those, and then we wait to hear if they're available, if they want something else. So Russ came back to me and said, hey, I think I can do this. I need Chris's help. And he requested that Chris be transferred to him for the duration of this project. So that's the first thing, is to transfer Chris Cross from the United One Information Technology, if you agree to this. And then the other one is to approve contract positions for CAD response plan data entry and CAD response plan data administration with the Information Technology Department. So those are two things if we want to move this project and the programming to IT. Even if we decide, upon some reorganization later, and we add a CAD administrator to IT, that person could still do this, and we may do away with these part-time. So these are contracted employees who wouldn't, we're not guaranteeing them a certain number of hours. We're just saying, as you're needed, we're going to pay you to program this in. The third one is something that commissions in the past have expressed support for, but not officially. So I think we need to officially express support. The EMS dispatch, so we're paying around $4.1 million in county money. And then if you count what we're giving, if you count our contribution, that's almost $5 million that we're contributing to staff the stations, to staff ambulances. And again, quickest route is sending the closest unit. So I would like to keep EMS out of response plan. And you can decide that, or you can say, we want to know what the ESA thinks, and we want the ESA to make that determination. And we'll tell you that I did speak with Chief Berner, and he has always expressed support for quickest route, or for the quickest route model for EMS. He believes that his board supports that as well. But you need to make a decision, because that's not in the purview of the fire commission. So the county commission is in charge of EMS and how it's provided. And they have decided to delegate that to a board. So you could, kick it to the ESA and say, we're going to tell him to program whatever the ESA decides they want to do. Or you can, I've spoken with Chief Berner, and he does support the quickest route module. So you could decide it here and make the directive yourself. Those are two options on that. So that's a little different from the programming, but I do feel like it would be my recommendation to leave the EMS out of response plan, because that slows down the response.
Can I just speak to Stephanie in the ESA board? So, I mean, if Captain Berner and, I believe her name's Sarah, I can't remember her last name, operation. Most often the ESA board leaves the operations to Captain Berner and operations. We don't usually get involved in that. So we don't usually tell them how to do their jobs or what they do. So if Captain Berner is expressing interest in that, then I would say this commission should support that kind of thing.
And I did, he did have a conversation with Chief Morgan. I thought that there was some resistance to that amongst the Fire and Rescue Association. But according to what Mr. Berner told me, they don't object to that. So I don't think that that's going to ruffle any feathers to hold the EMS dispatching out, at least when he spoke to Chief Morgan, who is the president of Fire and Rescue right now. So, yeah, I mean, and I have emails from, and it's quickest route is really helpful, especially we've had units out of service. We take those units out of service because we know they can't be dispatched. So why would we leave them in, and dispatch them and wait until they don't respond? So, and like I said, past county commissions have expressed support for that, but it's not been official. It's not on the record anywhere that the county commission actually wants us to program it that way. So those are what we're looking to do. I'm trying to get response plan programmed. I think Chief Morgan, if we agree on anything about this, and I think we disagree on every single aspect about this, I do think that response plan is a step back from the technology that other jurisdictions are using. I think jurisdictions are starting to move away from box areas, starting to use what is called auto vehicle location, which is the GPS, and they're sending the unit. I know that our neighbors to the east do not have box areas anymore. They just send a quick unit. However, the Fire Commission has kind of tied our hands a little bit with that to say that, the chiefs get to determine their first two areas, so unless they agree to pick this route and agree to kind of sit down and determine how we can fix some of the problems that with quickest route, then response plan is probably a better way to go because it will speed up the dispatch. And we do have two stations right now that have opted to use quickest route. The problem is that we can't use them together like that. When you're, yeah, so what we had to do is run the scenarios for quickest route and then program it into response plan. And we've already done that, I think, for both of those. So, because that first layer is complete. So it will speed up the dispatch so that, and it will make the dispatch easier for the dispatcher if we get response plan.
Okay. Does anybody have anything, any motions? You don't need any motions right now, it's just updating.
I do, I need you to approve me transferring Christopher Cross from E911 to information technology for purposes of this project.
Sure.
And also to approve contract positions that, for CAD response plan data entry and CAD response plan data entry.
So quick question, did we approve like 35,000 for CAD build out of the first, or the response
did.
plan or whatever?
You did, but however, the two vendors that Spillman has provided to us, they said they won't do it.
No, I'm just saying, is the money there?
Yes,
Is
the money is, so their money is there. We may have to do budget revision from E911 to IT, but the money is there. And also E911 always has money left over in their budget. So even if it went beyond the 35,000, it would still be budget neutral.
Yeah, because I'm just looking at, we've got you've mentioned the hourly price for contract, but do we have a cap? On how much we can spend against that? Or do we know a timeline where we can say up to?
I don't have a timeline, but if you feel comfortable doing up to the 35,000, and if it goes over that, we'll come back.
Then we'll come back to this. I think that would be,
Okay.
be the way to go.
Okay.
All right, I'll move a motion to transfer part-time employee Chris Cross from U911 to information technology. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Also move a motion to approve contract and positions for CAD response plan entry and CAD response plan data entry with information technology department. Do I have a second?
Up to
Yeah,
35,000.
not to exceed.
Up to 35,000. Sorry.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And that, anybody against that? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Do you really need to make a motion on?
It's, no, well, it's up to you.
I think if you don't think the ESA board,
Well, we don't
we're
usually-
stepping in their territory, I think it would just set the facts on the table for everybody to know where we're at.
Yeah, I mean, if they're not meeting the demand, the board's going to hear it and we're going to hear it.
Right.
Right? If they're not meeting the public's
Right.
needs. So I think any improvement
Okay.
or anything that
Okay.
goes to improve that is.
Yeah, I just, it was always my feeling, and I just wanted to make sure that the commission knew that we were pulling that EMS out. And continue to use response, or quickest route, sorry, for EMS. I think, you want to send the quickest unit available.
Well,
And
I'll
we
just
know
make-
that those are staffed.
Yeah, I'll just make a motion that we support Captain Berner and their decisions to pull EMS out of the response method and focus on quickest route.
Second that. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to, I call this the Nathan Cochran hour. I'm going to start calling it Nathan Cochran 5 minutes. So So Nathan, is there anything you can talk about in open session right now, under all the items under your name?
I would suggest that we go into executive session on items number 2, 3, and 4 under my particular number 11 here. And then I guess I'm asking you, do you intend to address item number 12 in the executive session? Well, then I would like to ask the commission, do you require legal assistance regarding item number 12? And I would like you to tell me if you require legal assistance. And if you do not, And quite frankly, if it's not unanimous, I will.
We've got the issue under Michelle too.
Yeah, no.
Like the vendor misconduct. We have
Oh,
to-
yes, and,
And on that one, I'm gonna have to come back to you next week. I haven't seen any of the documents. So I have to come back.
okay, so, all
Okay.
right, we'll do that. We will just, we'll table that. Okay, what's that?
Didn't Jane, you submit an executive session too?
No.
No, it was pulled. It was in the notebook, but it was not on the agenda.
No, it's not, I'm sorry. All right, I move that we go into executive session to receive legal advice under Nathan Cochran's agenda items number 2, 3, and 4, and also that we go into executive session to discuss unfinished business of agenda item number 12.
And I will second that with a few more details.
Sure, ma'am. I was looking your way because I know that you like.
Number 11, number 4 under agenda item number 11, I think that would be mostly contractual matter. And number 12 is personnel.
Yes,
And the
ma'am.
rest, others are just basic legal advice.
Thank you, Commissioner Ted. We have a motion and a second.
And Mr. President, I renew my question. Do you require legal assistance regarding item number 12?
Do we require? Let me take care of this motion first.
Yes, sir.
And, well, maybe we probably should vote on your motion first, shouldn't we? Are you,
I don't make motions. I'm just.
or your suggestion, does the commission feel that we need legal advice for number 12?
I don't know if new information is going to come up, so we might, that's why.
Yeah.
I don't want to say no.
I would say yes. I would say, yeah.
I'm fine to be here. I just want you to tell me that you want me to.
Actually, we do, because I think there was a follow-up. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's something else.
Yeah.
We had questions.
Okay, all right. All right, there's a motion on the floor and a second to move into executive session. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. We All right, welcome back. Give a motion to come out of executive I move that we come out of executive session.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, I want to make a motion to refer the new solar text amendment language for consideration to the planning commission.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
And I will abstain from voting, so the motion carries 3-1. All right. I also have to make a motion, or I regretfully am making this motion to accept the separation date for Stephanie Grove as of 11/12/21 based on the terms discussed in executive session. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes. I think it's a very sad day for Jefferson County that we've reached this point. And a lot of this attack on personnel has been through misinformation and totally unfair. There is no money missing from our county coffers. Our county administrator has done an outstanding job working with many different elected officials that change over the years. And I don't think anyone can comprehend how hard that job is. I just think that some folks just thought that was a nice target and that's who they went after. And it's just a crying shame. She will be hard to replace and it's going to cost us more to replace her.
Any other discussion? Okay, we have a motion and second on the floor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carries 3-2. I'd also like to move a motion to contact the state auditor's office to set up a meeting to explore doing a comprehensive audit. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. If there's, we don't have anything else, if there are no objections, then we are adjourned. Thank you.